So, whether you're seeking guidance, inspiration, or simply a moment of reflection, you're in the right place. Get ready to be challenged, inspired, and transformed. And now, to guide you through this journey of discovery, please welcome your host, a visionary leader and a true catalyst for change, Dwayne Dwyer, but we affectionately know him as the Mindset Coach.
Good evening. Good evening. I am Tawami Gaddy, son of Timothy, also known as the Available Man. I am the lead co-host for tonight with my big brothers. On top on the left, we got the Unk with the Funk, as Coach would say, also known as the Consistency Coach. And to the right, we got the Mindset Coach, Doctor. I told y'all you gotta get it from back here, Doctor Dwayne Dwyer, also certified speaker and coach. How you brothers doing this evening? How was y'all week?
I'm doing well. My week went well. I am excited that it's Friday. I'm excited to have a couple of days off, excited to be here, and yeah, all of that stuff.
Man, my week was good. I have no complaints. Like Luke said, man, it's Friday. Always look forward to Friday night's conversations. Always look forward to sharing a conversation with my brothers. And as always, look forward to sharing conversation with the livest chat in social media. So yeah, man, I'm excited. How about you?
Same. Like I said, I tell you, I said it was an eventful week. Not all bad, but kept me on my toes this week. But as always, it ends off on Friday nights with me here with my brothers having this conversation. And like you said, with the livest chat. So with that, we give our shout outs. Listen, if we do not call your name, listen, charge it to our heads, not my heart. But do us a favor. If you're out there and you haven't gotten in the chats, go ahead and get in the chat so we can see your comments. You can join the conversation and share the love. All right. So with that, say good evening to our sister, the rebirth of Nick D, Sister Crystal Everett. Yes, it's Maya. Lisa Keys, big sis, is always good to see you. Sister Keys, rebirth of Nick D. I know I'm scrolling. All right. Who we got? His Divine. Good evening, sis. Quiet Storm 718. It's good to see you. Good to see you. If, like I said, if you haven't gotten in the chats yet, go ahead and get in the chats. If you haven't and you're tuning in, go ahead and hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and join the community. Listen, tonight, our conversation, we're going to be talking about discipline secrets that everyone gets wrong. We all think that we know what we talking about when we talk about discipline. Well, let's see. Let's have the conversation. Let's talk together, and let's ride. Okay, let's start the show. So, most people think of self-discipline, think that it means forcing yourself to suffer, to go through some things. Grind a little bit harder, and never stop, never slip up. Right? But the truth, many people fail because their mindset of what discipline actually is. Self-discipline is not punishment through short-term suffrage as a part of a game, right? It is the ability to consistently choose long-term benefits over short-term comfort. And today, we're going to try to expose 3 self-discipline secrets that mostly everyone gets wrong. So as I say, let's jump in the chat. Let's get in this conversation, and let's see if you understand what discipline is. So, brothers, I got some definitions. While we go through the definitions, just give me your thumbs up if you're good with it. If you want to add to it, go ahead and jump in there, add to it, take away. But as we do that, we do have our first poll for the evening. for you, chat. It says, what are some areas where I need more self discipline? That's for you, right? Press one if it's emotional regulation, two, financial success implementation, three, dietary concerns, or four, man, can I finish? Y'all ready? No. Four, task completion and procrastination. Well, while y'all already getting at it, y'all know what to do. Get to press the corresponding number with the choice that you have, and we will revisit the poll. They were ready to go on this one. All right. So listen, my first definition I got is self-discipline. Self-discipline, the ability to regulate thought, emotions, and actions in pursuit of goals, even when you don't feel like it. Wheels are spinning already.
I'm assuming you're waiting for us to kind of approve or disapprove.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. Um, uh,
And both of your eyes went like this when I said,
Throw it back up there again. Let me see it again.
the ability to regulate thoughts, emotions, and actions in pursuit of goals, even when you don't feel like it.
I think yes. But I think that's only part of it. I think
And
as we go through the conversation, it's more to it. But I'm okay with it.
Good enough to start the conversation.
Yeah, I'm okay with it as a baseline for right now.
Yeah, I can roll with it.
Yeah. It's something in there that got me hung up on something and I can't figure out what it is yet. So
Hey, we need to
Well,
go.
okay, so I would just say this. I would just say this for the sake of allowing the audience to continue to contribute to the poll, and for the sake of making it make sense internally. Because when you look at these different things, right, the ability to regulate thoughts, emotions, and actions in pursuit of goals, I don't think it's just regulating them. I think it's tying them together as well. Right. So having the ability to regulate them and tie them together in the pursuit of goal, that way now, sure, I may do a thing if I don't feel like doing it, but at the end of the day, it should get me to the point to where it's not so much about how I feel about doing the thing, but the reason why I'm doing the thing.
I think that might have been the feel word. I think that might have been something. Yeah, and that's kind of exactly where you ended
Well,
with.
fear has a lot to do with it now.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. And let's see, maybe Uncle, it'll tie together for you with some of the other definitions. Next one I got is willpower. So for willpower, it's the short-term mental energy used to resist temptation or push through discomfort.
I'm okay with it.
Yep, I can live with that as well.
Yeah.
Love it. Number 3 is habits. Habit, a repeated behavior that becomes automatic over time.
Yeah, let's roll with it.
You with it?
Yep.
All right. And my last one, delayed gratification, choosing a greater future reward instead of an immediate smaller reward.
Yes, but the word greater is where I'm stuck, right? Because then the reward may not necessarily be greater, it just may be necessary in certain situations. So choosing the future, whatever that may be, depending on what we're talking about, for foregoing what I want right now for what I need later on. But yeah.
That's good. I want to see if we can revisit that thought in the conversation. Let's take a look here. Um, can we see the poll? Yep, the poll we have um, more people. 50% are lean towards number four, task completion and procrastination. Um, and the other 50% was split between emotional regulation, financial success, and implementation. So, do you? And I'm just asking this question before we jump into the show. Do you think most people out of these four would not choose number three because they've become healthy, or because maybe dietary concerns we don't really think about it as much?
So my initial answer is obviously B, because I don't believe that we overall collectively have become healthy. Sure, there are. I think we hit certain spurts to where we tend to focus on health for a reason or another. But it's a reason. It's not just because we created it to be a lifestyle. The reason can create a lifestyle, but for most cases, people need that reasoning to do a thing. So I don't think most people did not select dietary concerns because it is not a concern, right? And I'm talking from a medical standpoint. I believe that most people didn't select dietary concerns because to them it's not a concern right now.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know why some people didn't choose, that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with Coach, maybe where they feel like they are in their life, that's not a concern. Maybe it is more important that we have emotional regulation and stuff like this. And I'm gonna be honest, I think, if you look at the high percentage of the population that does not um, engage in some form of working out or physical activity on a consistent basis, it doesn't shock me. I'm not trying to beat down anybody's building or anything like that. I'm just saying that's what the numbers have always proven, but I think, if we was to look back on our lives, especially early on in our military career, even though we had families and stuff like this, I think at least me, I would have said something else too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a wife, I got kids, I'm worried about getting food on the table, I'm worried about getting through to the next paycheck to get this rent paid, different things like that. So when you're in that type of mode, dietary concerns does become least, because it's always like, well, I can get to it later. You know what I'm saying? So, and I just think that that's just, it's pretty common. So I'm not necessarily shocked by it.
Yeah. Uh,
Life be happening, bro. The
no,
only reason I stayed in shape for a lot of time in the military was because I was in the military,
they
and
paid me to do it. Yeah.
Sergeant Dwayne Dwyer made me do PT 5 days a week. So I
Yeah.
ain't, I didn't really have an option.
No,
So
I agree with that. Uh, and I stick with because it's not because it's not a concern for me. I think because a lot of people, I think we relate health to like body composition. I'm comfortable with how I look, so I'm not really worried about my diet. But it's bigger than that. I know everybody. Everybody had a big mama or somebody, and we were more happy that she lived to 90 something or 100 something years old than we cared about the fact that she didn't have emotional regulation. She cussed everybody out at the drop of a thumb, but we still loved her, right? And I'm not saying emotional regulation is not important, but I want to be here to regulate my emotions. You know, that's how I was checking on that. I wanted to see what y'all thoughts were.
checking the temperature of the room.
I know.
It's like 6 in one hand, half a dozen the other. You know what it is?
Yeah.
Like everybody got, 15 things that they got to do and 15 things that they want to do in life until they have a health concern. When they have a health concern, then they don't have anything to do but that. And I think for the most part, and I'm just being honest, when you look at life, emotional regulation, financial success implementation, and task completion, those things literally drive your day-to-day activities. Those drive the why behind why you're doing the things that you're doing. If I don't like what I look like in the mirror, only thing I need to do is change what I'm shoveling in my mouth. That's the change that I can make, right? Then it's like, well, which is the priority? Is it more so of the aesthetics or is it the health thing? And I think it's the health thing that is the priority thing. I think I really do believe that we've gotten to the place that it's not so much as the aesthetics anymore for the older generation, for us folks. Younger generations, not so much. They still worry about what they look like when they, and to some degree we worry, but it's not a major concern.
No, I definitely agree. I definitely agree right there. Whew. But you're definitely right. 6 in one, half a dozen in the other hand. Whew. Well, listen. Thank y'all for running that course with me. Well, let's jump into our first. Let's look at. I apologize. Let's look at some of the data facts, run through them, and then we're gonna go into our first segment. Right. So first thing I want to look at is discipline beats motivation. All right. So researchers consistently find that habits and systems predict long-term success better than a burst of motivation. Motivation fluctuates. Routine reduces, and dependence on your mood. Procrastination. Procrastination is linked to poor self-regulation. All right. Studies describe procrastination as a self-regulation issue, not simply laziness. People delay tasks even when they know it hurts them later in the future. Um, I'm gonna go back. We're gonna go back to the definitions later on in the conversation. But that right there, I want to get those two out of the way before we jumped into our first two segments. So with that, the first one we have is discipline is not willpower. Most people think disciplined people are mentally tougher every day, but the real discipline is often more about creating environments where temptations become weaker, distractions are removed, automated. We automate good choices and make bad habits more of an inconvenience. Um, with that said, my first question is to you, brothers, is what role do you believe that your environment plays in maintaining your self-discipline?
I think it may be more so your level of, in a sense, your level of discipline dictates your environment. I think that for some people, because they have a certain level of discipline, they choose certain types of environments, who they choose to hang out with, the things that they spend their money on, the things that they spend their time doing. So I think it's both. So I think it is that, but and then to this question, what role does your environment play in maintaining? I think that, again, I think it's more so on the discipline than the environment, because a disciplined person is going to remain disciplined regardless of the environment. If coach is a disciplined young bucks aren't, and he's in the gym back in the States, when he go to Iraq, regardless of the environment, he's still gonna go out there and he's gonna find a way to pump the iron and get it done, because that's who he is and that's what he's been disciplined or that's what he's disciplined in at the moment in his life. So I think it's more so about the disciplined person kind of dictates the environment. But I do think that for the person who may not be as disciplined and may not have that mental toughness, I think that to that point, I do think that your environment can have a huge effect on your level of discipline and getting and maintaining a certain level of discipline.
And conversely, I say your environment plays a huge role in not only maintaining discipline, but establishing discipline as well. We just sat and gave a great example about when we were in the army. Like, if we didn't join the army, would you be running down the street every morning? Would you be doing push-ups, sit-ups, and all that other great stuff? So, I got it. We did it because that was part of our job. That was part of, the things that we had to do. That was part of maintaining the standard. But the environment was the thing that drove that. Even like your example about going to Iraq, I agree. Um, but also, we had nothing else to do. So it was like, you know what? Outside of going outside the wire and doing what we did, we came back. It was like, do something stupid or exercise. So, that's what we did. So I think, and I know those are all military examples, but let's just look at like the average neighborhood. Look at what young men are doing in the average neighborhood. And unless parents do something to like get those young boys to burn off energy and things of that nature, they're more inclined to go out there and participate in those things, whether it's peer pressure or whether it's a degree of cool or whatever that looks like. I think if we think back to our adolescent years, I think we can see how that peer pressure played in. We probably didn't do everything that our quote unquote friends did, but we did some of those things. So environment is a huge driving factor. In fact, okay, let's just break it down to science. When you look at the environment is conducive to how the plant or the tree or whatever it is grows. You take that tree out of that environment and put it in an environment that's not a conducive for it to grow, that tree, that plant will suffer, and in most cases, it will die.
I love it. I love it. Um, I was rolling with you while you was talking. Well, both of y'all really. But when I think about it, I was kind of thinking kind of where Coach went when you talked about Iraq. I was like, well, I think that's just because that's what we had available for the most part. But if you think about it, and if this comes out right, I'm gonna coin it, and it's gonna be my phrase, so y'all can say quoted by. Uh, but I think the reason why the generations change when we talk about what I used to do when I was younger, what I used to do when I was younger, is because what we had available to us changed. Right? These kids today, they don't know about being outside all day drinking from the water hose because there's 5 TVs in the home now. Mama kicked us out so she could have a TV to herself and have peace and quiet. But now we don't have to kick our kids out the house for that because we don't just have one TV. We got 5 TVs. Kids go in the room and they shut up and they watch TV now. They got video games, they got tablets. So I think it's the environment really does change or really do affect behavior. So I would have to on the side on that side. Um, moving on to the next question. Question is, how do you believe distractions destroy focus? We know that it do, but if you can, with my great esteemed brothers, kind of help us understand how the distractions begin to break down our focus.
I mean, this may have something to do with the environment as well. You know what I'm saying? Well, some similar to it. They You see it when you go to the gym, right? Someone's phone will ring, or they'll be sitting there looking at their workout on their phone, and the next thing you know, they sitting on the bench for 5 minutes. And you're like, bro, like, come on, man, get off your phone. So I do believe that distractions can easily destroy your focus. I'm a person, I get distracted a lot. Sometimes, people are wired that way. I think that, distractions, at the end of the day can easily mess up your focus, because like there's a lot of stuff going on day to day. I spoke earlier about, just life. You figuring out how to pay the bills and how to get John to track practice and how to, make your wife, her birthday coming up and trying to plan something. And then the kids want to go to Disneyland and you got all these things going on and trying to get promoted at work. And it's easily sometimes to even get distracted by other things that need to get done. I've been thinking about, you know, putting some shelves up in the room or something like that. And while I'm thinking about the shelves, I think about what type of screws go in there. And now I'm thinking about, oh, I need to go to Home Depot. And the next thing you know, I'm off on a totally different mindset and thinking about all the good looking toys and stuff I get to buy if I go to Home Depot. You know what I'm saying? So distractions can, cause us to lose focus. I think it's just part of life. I think as we mature, I think we get better at bringing in some of those distractions or lessening some of those distractions, especially when it comes to certain areas of our life that may need a certain level of focus.
Yeah. I don't think distractions destroy our focus. I really don't. I think that a lot of times becomes the excuse that we use for not necessarily being committed to the decision to stay focused. Case in point, I don't know. Anything external to me should not be able to affect me at the level that it does in most cases, simply because my commitment should drive my focus. But if my focus is waning, then I have not yet committed to the thing. So it doesn't matter what arena we talk about. We can talk about relationship, we can talk about finances, we can talk about nutrition like we did previously, we can talk about whatever. It doesn't really matter. Whatever thing that we are committed to, that thing should be the thing that drives my focus. A distraction reveals to me that I have not yet committed to that thing at the level that I think I have. Nothing external to me can distract me. It is the thing that's in me that's attracted to that thing. Therefore, now it's pulling, now I'm being drawn in that direction. So I don't think distractions are the problem. I think the lack of commitment is the problem.
I I understood you said that, and then you said it the way you said it, and it was good. For something, I don't disagree with sometimes commitment because I agree. I'm I'm easily distracted from things I myself haven't committed myself to. I'm doing it just because I'm doing it, or I'm doing it because I'm helping somebody. There's no real reward or punishment behind the thing. I'm just doing it. Is I can easily get distracted. Um, but I think sometimes, like for instance, we're doing the show, but I hear these big headed children upstairs that look like me. It sounds like they're about to come through my ceiling. So, every now and then I want to mute my button and then shout up there, sit down somewhere, because it's fighting for my attention. So when I think about distractions, I'm not thinking about I keep stopping to look at my phone and check my messages. That's like you said, that's a commitment problem. Oh, let me go see what that's a commitment problem. Like I think about And I'm actually kind of answering the next question, I guess.
And,
So
and you're really proving my point. So keep going. Keep going. You're doing good. Because I want you to finish what you're saying, and I'm going to respond to that, and then I'm going to grab a comment out of the comment section and show you exactly what I mean.
okay, I'm trying to remember where I was at now. But my children, that's an actual live distraction. So like I the noise, the boom, the bang, and the sometimes make me want to check and say, hey, y'all all right? What was that bang? What was that noise? What was you know? That's to me, that's the distraction actually pulling or fighting for my attention in this space and time versus my commitment to the thing. Because I'm going to finish the show, but I'm
Mhm.
also going, and it
But
may
I,
cause me to miss something that I can respond to.
but I bet you have a higher commitment to your children than sitting in that chair talking on the screen. Tell me I'm wrong.
So one of the two is a distraction. Then
No, neither one of them are a distraction. It is a commitment defined by priority. If it was somebody that they're cutting the grass, you wouldn't even think twice about it.
unless they were too loud,
I mean, unless they're in your yard, you're like, I ain't tell you to cut my grass, right? That's different. Like even like bring up Maya's statement because I love this, right? I'm not disagreeing with what Maya said. She said I can go to the grocery store with a list of 5 things that I need. That word sale will have me leaving out with a half a cart of groceries. But I bet you in that half a cart of groceries, she got those 5 things. So it's not that they distracted her. She got what she went to get. It's just that I seen an opportunity, and I'm gonna capitalize on this opportunity because of that 4-letter word, sale. That's what I'm saying. I don't think. See, and I think we have been conditioned to believe that distractions happen externally. It doesn't happen externally. It is something internal to me. Even when I think it was somebody made mention about the Israelites. The Israelites were distracted by other communities, other environments, um, other groups, different cultures, if you will. There we go. I'm gonna use this example. The Israelites were distracted by the environment they left, and he couldn't focus on the promise that was before them, and they were distracted because they did not make a commitment. They weren't committed to the Most High. The Most High was committed to them. I bet you when you really stop and think about it, anything that you were committed to and was laser focused on, nothing distracted you. There may have been some things that probably competed, and then you had to make a decision, but you weren't distracted from it.
I'm picking up the puzzle pieces you're putting together. We had to come back to that puzzle board because what say you on before we roll? What say you on the matter?
I said what I said.
Hey, I'm with it. I'm with it.
I mean, I get it. I understand that. I would like to know what it is called. If I am focused on something, let's use Gaddy's example. What do we call that thing if it's not a distraction? If Gaddy is committed to doing this show tonight, and upstairs, them big head things that he said look like him, right? They up there bumping, and he hears something. He hears some glass break, right? What is that called when he disconnects for that moment and then comes back? If it's not a distraction, what do we call that thing?
Competing priorities.
Competing priorities.
But that boy slicker than he talking about Rolo could slither out of a corner.
That's why I asked the question. I bet you your children are of a higher priority level than you sitting in front of this computer screen right now.
I mean, facts.
Yeah.
It did priority over most things in life right now.
That's it.
But so let's say, so if I go back to Maya, right? I'm thinking if the goal is I need to be more disciplined with my finances, I need to monitor, my spending a little better because I have goals. I have things that I'm saving for. I need a down payment for the thing that I'm trying to buy, and that sales sign come up, and all of a sudden I switch from Mr. Jackal to Mr. Hyde, and I'm just swiping debit card all over Costco's or whoever somebody says something, it, like yes, that external thing triggered something internal. So I'm with you with that because it triggered something internal that caused the behavior, but that's a distraction because there was a goal in place, and that's how I'm looking at it. It's not that it's not internal, but it's still a distraction to me.
Or she just wasn't committed to getting her red bottoms like she thought she was.
See, hey, I try to go for like a house or something, like you trying to get a mansion or something. He gave you the red bottom.
I mean, my bad, man. My bad.
She probably ain't mad either way. All right. Let's move into discipline is built in small wins. And I like this one because it kind of builds off of distractions. And so leading into this one, I'm kind of excited for where it's going to go because distractions was a good conversation. So my first question here is, how do you believe a procrastination mindset devolves from motivation?
I don't know, because I don't really pay motivation too much mind. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I don't really care if procrastination devolves from motivation. I don't think.
I think you're saying that maybe procrastination, you don't think it does devolve from motivation, maybe from somewhere else?
I don't know. I'm still thinking on it. And I guess it's the motivation piece that's where I'm hanging, I'm stuck on, because let me put a pin in it and think about it and come back.
I am. I'm saying that, yes. I don't think that procrastination is a subset of motivation. I think procrastination is the expression of fear to some degree. It's either I dread doing the thing, I dread not doing the thing well, or I dread the feedback that I get from the thing, or I dread how I look while doing the thing, right? But procrastination and motivation should not go hand in hand. I'm sure in some cases, some people may say it will, and I'm okay with that, right? But procrastination and motivation should not go hand in hand. Motivation should be the thing that actually drives you to do it. And sometimes you may do it too soon without even getting all of the information that you need in order to do it. You may avoid a few extra steps that you may need to do the thing well, like soliciting somebody who can like make you think, be a thought partner with you to think outside of the thoughts that you have. Because again, remember, your thoughts now are being driven by motivation, and motivation in turn reveals an emotion. And that emotion, you hanging on to that emotion, you're doing a thing and you're skipping this and you're skipping that. You're not necessarily thinking about that. So motivation should draw me to do it, to where procrastination, for whatever reason that is internal to me, is telling me, well, you don't have to do it today. You can do it tomorrow. But you don't have to do it, you still got time. You still got Tuesday. You can do it by Tuesday. As long as you get it done by Tuesday, you're good. But today Friday. And so you're going to skip Friday because you got this going on. You're going to skip Saturday because this, and then something's going to come up Sunday. And oh yeah, by the way, Gaddy going to call me because he need me to come over there and help repair that wall that his kids bust down a few minutes ago. Right. Stuff like that. So all of that stuff happens, and then Tuesday come around and be like, oh my goodness, I got this deadline, and then you. So I think that is in essence what it is. Procrastination is a manifestation of fear, and unfortunately, motivation and fear in most cases don't go hand in hand unless that motivation is now met with the reality of something that is internal to you.
Yeah, I think that's where I wasn't finding the link, like you was just talking about. The only what I see when I look at this is, how do you believe a procrastination mindset devolves from motivation? The way I see it kind of linked together is this. I believe some people that, there are some people who do believe in motivation and they use that word a lot. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe that those people who use that, say, hey, I'm not motivated to do something. And because they're not motivated to go and cut the grass, they tend to procrastinate about different things, or they procrastinate about cutting the grass. So that's the way I see the link right here between those two words. Again, it's like, if I'm not motivated to do something, then it's going to take me a while to get through it. But then again, like I said, if you discipline, you're going to go and do it anyway. You don't got nothing to do with motivation anyway. So, again, that's just how I saw the link between the motivation and the procrastination.
Yeah, y'all got me on the ropes on this one.
You've been on the ropes all night. Meaning that me and Coach have been having opposite, kind of differences of opinions and perspectives on stuff. So yeah, but you ain't got to take a side, bro.
No, man, I heard punch bug and no punchbacks.
No. I ain't heard that in a minute.
Them youngins couldn't have been. They can't be on the show on that Joe. They be like, huh?
Yeah, if you're young, you don't know what that means.
Not right. I'm kind of trending a little bit both sides with it, because I get what you're saying. Procrastination, it is a subset from fear, because it doesn't come from not wanting the thing, right? Because wanting the thing is why you're going after it, for whatever reason. Whether it's just for having better health or having better money, whatever the reason, you want the thing. So I don't think it's from motivation, maybe, but so maybe you're right. Maybe it is fear, right? But when I start thinking about this subsection, when I'm talking about having these small wins, and I'm gonna kind of do this a little weird, because this gonna help me here. Let's go ahead and jump to the third question in this section. Because I'm thinking more on how long big wins can take, right? So big wins can have a large increment of time in between, because the goal can be my 3-year degree. It could be, this, or saving for this, or what have you. So my question is, and if the word motivation, I was thinking about this one. If the word motivation doesn't fit, because drive is a synonym to me. So I don't want to get the same response but so how do you hold on to your motivation or your drive? And just leave that one by itself until you accomplish an achievement.
All right, so big wins can have large increments of time in between, and that is true. but sometimes we need to assess the small wins and give them more credit. Sometimes the small wins are big wins. So I think first of all, we start there, with the changing of the mindset, because every step towards your goal, baby steps are still steps. So sometimes just changing the wording and the wording and how we think about and how we mention things can be very effective. Um and then how do you hold your motivation and drive until you accomplish an achievement? I think first of all you do is you throw motivation out the window. You get rid of it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I believe. And then you focus on the drive, you can focus on the commitment, you focus on the discipline, you focus on the consistency until you accomplish that achievement. And again, you go back to those wins. Those are wins. It don't matter if they're big or small. They're all wins, and they're all wins that are part of the journey in getting to, that big win in between, the big win, the big win at the end of the bunch of small wins in between. I think that's what I mean.
The answer is you celebrate all wins. It
Celebrate
doesn't
all
matter.
wins.
Yeah, you celebrate all of them, right? Big, small, processed, um, because some wins are step by step procedures, right? So every step along the way is a part for gratitude, a part for appreciation, things of that nature. So um, that's why I say we set goals the wrong way a lot of times. We don't necessarily reverse engineer them. So we celebrate all wins. We recognize, and so this whole conversation about motivation, right? Um, it's like, and I hate to reduce it down to this, but I think this makes a lot of sense. When I used to go to the gym back in my, workout days, I used to make my own pre-workout drink. Some people go and buy their stuff, whatever the case may be, but I made my own. And it was simple. It was disgusting. No, you good. You good. You good.
Oh
It
no,
was
I heard
simple.
it. I know how disgusting
Oh,
it
you
is.
heard it? Okay, yeah.
You've
It
been
was
making
simple.
hyphy mud.
Well, I mean, yeah. It was no, I didn't. It wasn't. I wasn't the mud, but it was simple. But there was a scientific reason behind it. So it was 1 part coffee, 1 part Coca Cola. So the sugar, right? Exactly. Like literally from start to finish. So the sugar is like in the motivation, quick, fast, and then dissipates fast. And dissipates fast as well. To where the caffeine in the coffee was more prolonged. So the motivation got you going. The inspiration keeps you going. And so that's the thing that we have to learn. We have to learn more about inspiration instead of motivation. Motivation is tied behind the emotion that's in the thing. And we know, if we know anything about emotions, emotions are like, fleeting. So with the motivation part of it, motivation, okay. So the motivation part of it, it's going to be fleeting. It's not going to last long. So you need something that's going to continue the drive, and that's where inspiration come in. So a lot of times, a lot of us are not inspired to do the thing. We're motivated to do the thing because we seen somebody else do it.
A lot of people are motivated on January the 1st every year to get out there and do whatever. The New Year's resolution is a perfect example of motivation. And there are some inspiration behind it, but a lot of it, I believe, is motivation. And I don't want to just throw out motivation altogether though, like I did. I do think that it does have a place. I heard someone say motivation, kind of like Coach was saying, it's like the kindling to the fire. Sometimes having that spark is enough to get the ball rolling for some people, especially if you have had a habit or you've in the past, you were doing X, Y, and Z. Maybe you were in the gym or something, and then you kind of fell off for a little bit, and you read a book, you watch a video, it can give you that initial spark. But again, like Coach said, you got to have something else in order to keep you going for a long time. But again, like I said, I don't want to just throw out motivation altogether. I do think it does has a place, but
Yeah. Listen, it says which keep you more motivated. So, well, I was about to say while the poll is still open, jump in there. But right now, it looks like it says both equally celebrating small daily wins and focusing on big goals at the end. It looks like it's a tie, 17% each, and then everyone else voted for number 3. So, um, I think
want to
I
know
agree with that.
which one. What about you? I want to know which one you think, Gaddy, because I kind of know what I think, but I want you to just giggles.
To be honest with you, it has to be the big goal at the end for me. Um, but staying motivated, yes, is celebrating those small wins along the way. That's why I said I'm kind of on both. But if I take my sight off of the goal at the end, I'll mistake one of the small goals for the big goal. I'll be satisfied where I'm at, and so for me, I stay more motivated, not forgetting what that end goal is. Like I'm looking at, it's nice. This is exciting because it's getting me on my way to that. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, I would say I focus more on celebrating the small daily wins. So when I come out with whatever plan, say for instance, it's a workout plan and it's a 6-week plan. Well, I'll design it so I have like a check-in or a fit test like every Saturday or Sunday like that. So I'll do everything, but I'm more focused on the day to day. I don't really think about the long term goal at the end of the 6 weeks until like day 7, day 14. So I spend more time. I am thinking about both of them, but it's not equal. I'm thinking and spending more time on the daily task and not so much as the long term. And that just for me, because keep thinking about the long term, it's like, darn it, man, I got 5 weeks and 6 days left for this freaking diet and getting up at this time. Like that's a long time. So for me in my brain, that's too much to continue to keep focusing on and spending a bunch of time on. So for me, I focus on the small day-to-day things way more than I do the long-term stuff. What about you, Coach?
I was about to say.
Oh, my answer was my answer. Celebrate all wins.
Celebrate all wins.
Right. Because again, and so I mean, we're literally working through something like literally right now. And it's a larger goal in mind, but it's a process to get there. And so, some people I kind of had to like push, like, hey, y'all need to coordinate, talk this out to come to some type of point. So now we're at a point, we're going to talk about it tomorrow. And then you guys will probably see next week sometime the result of that conversation. But that's step one, right? That's the first phase of it. But then there's a larger step to it that goes into it. So again, I get the whole big goal focus can be debilitating thing. And I get the whole notion that, well, in some cases, I may take the small win and make that the larger goal. But I also think sometimes what a lot of us tend to do is take the small win and say, okay, that's enough. So I don't think we necessarily sacrifice the larger goal for the small goal. We just be like, I'm tired. This is all I'm gonna do right here. That's it. Right. I mean, to each his own, whatever. But the reason why you set the big goal is so that you can set smaller goals. To where some people say it differently. We set smaller goals so we can set bigger goals. No, you set the big goal so you can set the smaller goal. The smaller goal gives you something to work towards. So now in the step-by-step accomplishment, you get that that hit of adrenaline, that hit of motivation, that hit of excitement because you're getting closer to the larger overall goal. I think to me that's the right way to look at it. But it's kind of hard if that's not how your brain is wired. It's kind of hard to adopt that just by listening to me saying it. So, but I get it. So you celebrate all wins.
I dig that. I dig it. I dig both of it. And I agree with it. I just agree. I think for me, it's all together. I got it. I got it. I know, and I'm speaking just for me knowing myself. It's not that I don't want to celebrate all wins in the journey. I don't want to forget along the way what the main goal is.
Correct.
So I don't get happy at this celebration time. And I say that because when you say sometimes you get tired, I get tired and I get complacent because sometimes I celebrate too hard on this one win.
We didn't say throw a party, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like you shutting down the whole block because you got your driver's license, but you ain't got no car yet.
All wins. Turned down for what?
Gotcha. I got you.
I'm just saying, but I've done like working out, right? When I got back in the gym, I knew the body composition I wanted to go for, right? But along that way, I had to drop a lot of fat, and so when I dropped a lot of that weight, and it wasn't even the fact that I celebrated dropping that weight. I dropped the weight and I put on some clothes I ain't put on in a few years, and it started looking good. Let me tell you, this is one of them shirts that I had on the side of the closet, the wish I could side of the closet. But that excited me, and I got too happy at that I almost forgot. There's more to go. There's more to do. We're not done. We're happy we're here, but why are we satisfied? And that kind of became a stopping point, and I had to refocus myself. And then I was like, no, we're not satisfied. Get back. So it's not that I don't want to celebrate everyone. I just don't want to lose sight of the big one along the way.
Well, I think Chris will bring up a good point. Based upon the question, there is no wrong answer. So however you do it is how you do it.
Check. I agree. Yeah. Let's jump back. I really do want y'all to take on this second question, and then we'll move on. Do you believe that loss of discipline is laziness or burnout? Or are there any other contributing factors that you believe play a part?
Yes.
I felt that.
Yes, and yes, and yes.
Okay.
Since Coach started, if you want to go more out,
please. You already knew it.
I'll let him go.
Yeah, I sure. Do I believe that loss of discipline can be a sign of laziness? Sure. But I think if it's a sign of laziness, I was never disciplined in the first place. That's for starters. I might be more disciplined at being lazy than I am at being a self-starter. And I think that's a lot of times we want to do a thing. We don't have any practice of doing the thing that we want to do. But yet we get to the point of trying to do too many changes at one time. I've been practicing lazy for quite some time. I got really good at it. And now all of a sudden I want to implement some discipline. Like Garfield, I know you mentioned, you see this happen at the beginning of every year, but this is ultimately the reason why, right? Laziness now is trying to be reworked into discipline when that's not a common practice. Burnout, sure. Burnout, it's a number of things that we can look at. Doing too much too fast, whether it's from a cognitive perspective or from a physical perspective, packing too much on a task list and trying to do too much every day because you're more excited about the end goal as opposed to being focused on, time blocking tasks and doing them in an organized manner. And there could be some other contributing factors that go along with it. One contributing factor is that you're not necessarily dedicated to the thing that you're trying to be disciplined for. So, I see Gaddy doing a thing and I want to do that thing as well. And, Gaddy been doing it now for about 15, as the old folks say, 15 some odd years. I'm just not seeing him doing it. So it's like, oh, well, I want to do that too. And the next thing you know, I decide I want to try it. But I'm not necessarily disciplined in that arena. So now part of the contributing factor in that part is that, this is just too much, man. I bit off more than I can chew. I did not walk my way into the necessary level of discipline to implement the thing. It's a number of different contributing factors we can talk about. We can talk about financial. Sometimes we don't necessarily have the finances to do the thing that we want to do. Even though we have the motivation to say, I really want to do that, well, we can't even resource the thing that we want to do. So then there's that. Some things we try to do, it we're 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 we are in love with the glamour of the thing, not necessarily knowing that the thing requires infrastructure, that it requires time, it requires you to grow before it grows through you. And so in your mind, you believe that I'm going to, where I'm at right now, I'm going to start this today and it's going to be like blow up. Yeah, I'm going to get tomorrow. Yeah, that's us. That's unrealistic. It's lunacy and it's fantastical. So I think a number of different things have to happen in order to achieve the thing that we're needing to achieve. Some work has to be done in me in order for the work to be done through me.
Yeah, I'm rocking with Coach on this. Do you believe that loss of discipline is laziness or burnout, or there are other contributing factors? Like Coach said, and I believe it that if you don't have the discipline, then you're not going to be able to do the thing anyway. You know what I'm saying? So kind of paraphrasing or put my own twist on it. But it's like I see that on like the track, I see it on like the football field and stuff like that, whereas kids say, "Hey, I want to do this," and you look at them and somebody would say, "Oh, they're just not disciplined. They just don't want." But the reality of it is, they like the idea of going D1 and looking good on the football field and stuff like that, but they don't really want to put in the work that comes along with going D1. Going D1 is not for everybody. Once you go D1, everybody there was the best at their high school. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole different level. But, if you don't have, and then to that other contributing factor, I'm just going to speak on those other contributing factors, that kind of stop people, when they are when they are on a journey going somewhere. One of the things is sometimes there's injury that happens. Sometimes there's health. Sometimes there's life. Sometimes there's some mental illness that gets in the way of us being disciplined of us being able to reach certain goals in life. So I do believe that there are some outliers out there that are beyond our control that can have a massive impact on our level of discipline. However, like Coach was talking about, that discipline has to be built. And I do believe that there are also areas in our life that we may show more discipline in than others. We may have, you know, great discipline when it comes to our eating habits and our working out, but we may be a horrible husband. You know what I'm saying? We may be a horrible father. We may not be as disciplined with, our time. Maybe we spend too much time at work and not enough time at home. So I also do believe, again, like I was just mentioning, that we can be disciplined in certain areas of our life and not disciplined in other areas. I think sometimes they can, and I think some way priorities change and shift. The priorities definitely have something to do with this as well, and where you're at in life, and priorities as far as what's important at the time. Like Coach mentioned, as we start to get older, maybe looking like Bruce Lee or Lee Haney ain't the goal anymore at 50 plus. You know what I'm saying? So definitely life, mindset, evolution, and how we think about things adjusts and contributes to this as well. Yeah, that's it.
No, I love it. I love it. And while I'm listening to y'all talk, one of the things, especially something you said, Coach, made me think. And I don't want to stay here too long, but I don't want to miss a part of the process if there's a part that I'm missing, right? And it sounded like we were saying your why makes a difference. And so I don't want to skip that. I don't want to jump over that, you know, because if I'm doing it to be popular, if I'm doing it because it looks cool when someone else does it, then there's no true motivation behind it. Like I said, that's one of those things. There's no gain, no loss. But here's the thing. I'm not even going to say no loss. Sometimes I can spend so much time focused on the wrong thing that I lose time mastering the thing out that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not going to drag over there too far, but I like that. I like when you went there because that is a major factor. Like if the why is not important, then the commitment is not real. I don't believe. What say you?
You finally got it. That's what I was saying in the beginning.
I don't see the correlation.
Yes, you just made the correlation. The why always defines the commitment.
Can the why be wrong?
Who determines that?
Yeah, that's what I was
Hold
thinking.
on. Let me pause. Maybe not wrong. Can the why be, I don't want to say wrong, but maybe not accurate. I don't want to necessarily say wrong, but like my why, I got the there's a ball coming up and I want to get in my suit. Right? Can that be the why? Is that the wrong why? Is that you know what I mean? That's a short term why, because the ball is in 6 weeks.
I don't think it's the why that's wrong. I think it's the expectation that's not realistic.
Expectation.
Right? Like if I'm 300 pounds and I'm trying to get into, the tuxedo I wore for my wedding 25, 30 years ago, when I was 180 pounds, we're not being realistic. You're asking for surgery. You're not asking for a real, like, what's the goal? Save money so you can go see Dr. Miami? Get that tummy tuck? Like, it got to be, because it can't be lose it by diet and exercise, not in 6 weeks. You know what I mean? So I don't think the why is wrong. I think the expectation in the timeline doesn't match.
So I'm going back to my original question though. Who determines that? Who determines if my why is wrong?
Yeah.
I think only I can.
Right.
I can only determine if my why is wrong.
Correct.
I can see the wheels spinning
in reverse.
Yeah, because now I'm wondering, I'm thinking about a possible counseling and or a coaching session. Client talks about, hey, my why is this. And we know darn well, not that it's wrong, that it's going to produce an outcome that is not going to be favorable to the client. You know what I'm saying?
Not my decision to make.
Not your decision to make. So back to it. Only him can determine if his why is wrong.
Correct.
Got it.
I guess it goes back to, like, if we take that original why, because I saw Unc run that marathon and posting it, I'm gonna run the marathon, right? Well, let's not even put a timeline on it. I want to run a marathon, whatever that looks like, right? If I derail and I get unmotivated, and it's because my why is more, it's not because it's something I want to do or whatever the case may be, because I'm looking at Unc, then okay, then to me, maybe my why was wrong. I need to find another why. But if that why keeps me motivated, I don't want Unc to be the only one out here on these social media streets running marathons, then my why is correct. That kept me going. It kept me going. I can like, you get what I'm saying? Like it's sticky. You can have an opinion about my why.
Not my decision to make.
But it's my why. Yeah, that's how.
Yeah, I guess it ain't for me to say whether or not it's wrong or not. That's on you. If it either worked out for you or either it didn't. Either you're gonna make an adjustment in your life or your marathon plan, or you're not. So I get it now. I ain't got nothing to do with me. That's on you, brother.
If I motivate you, to God be the glory. Nah. Man, that's a good question. I like that question. Where we at? All right, let's go to our third and final secret, which is discipline feels boring. I believe that boring is powerful because it compounds.
To what? More boring? To what? More boring?
But
don't pay me no effort, man. Keep
yeah. It's more boring. Look, let's hop on this poll in the chat. Y'all know what to do. If you could only choose one path to success, which would you pick? All right, you press 1 for chase visibility and exposure, 2 for quietly build consistent habits.
Typo, I think.
Typo, check Raj. 3, a strategic mix of both, or 4, I'm still figuring this out. But for you, my brothers, I got my question to y'all is: Would you rather chase exposure or quietly build good habits, and why?
Let me get them good habits, Gaddy, for 300. And why? First of all, I really don't care about the exposure. Not my thing. But man, good habits create good environments, create good relationships, create good life, create a lot of good things. Good habits create teeth. Getting up, brushing your teeth in the morning, brushing them at nighttime, different things like that. Good habits like that allow you to be able to be a certain age and still have your teeth, not spend thousands and thousands of dollars on different things like that. So for me, building good habits outweighs chasing exposure any day and twice on Sundays, especially when the Cowboys play.
So I have an interesting response.
Ooh, yes.
Because it's one word that throws this whole poll off. And I think when you really pay attention to that one word, it makes a whole lot of sense. Regardless of whatever it is I'm doing, whether we're talking about life, whether we're talking about, education, whether we're talking about job, business, relationship, whatever, I need to start off quietly building consistent habits. Everything requires and need an infrastructure. But in most cases, we miss the mark and we don't do the infrastructure piece, but we want to jump to operations. So we chase visibility and exposure first, to where quietly building consistent habits is the first thing that we need to do so that we have the necessary infrastructure to handle what is to come afterwards. But the one word that I'm talking about is the word chase. If the word chase was not there, my answer was going to be a strategic mix of both, because I think that's the right answer. The right answer is a strategic mix of both. Why? Because after infrastructure is built, then who I'm serving has to be revealed. They have to be able to find me. They have to know where to look. I have to make myself visible for them. So now visibility and exposure matter. I just don't chase it. If I'm chasing it, then I'm chasing the wrong thing, because I'm trying to make it all about me. But if I am available and visible for those people to find me and locate me, then I can serve them properly, because it's not about me, it's about them. So I think the answer is, if you change one word and that's remove the word chase, the answer is a strategic mix of both. However, because the word chase is there, it has to be number 2, quietly build consistent habits.
See, when you when you use exposure in that way, that made me slide a little bit more to the mix part, because
My bad.
like you're talking about building that structure and stuff like that. Like, if I don't know, maybe with my sons and stuff like that, right? I need to be available. I don't know. For some reason, that exposure piece linked in my head to good habits, the structure, being an example for my sons. And the only way to be an example for my sons is I need to be visible to him. So for some reason, that's how I linked all of that together. I don't know if I'm way off or not from your thought process, coach, or not, but that's where my mind just went. So whether
Well,
we're on the same wavelength or not, I appreciate it, because that's what it meant. That's what I got from it.
yeah, I wouldn't say you're far off.
Mhm.
Um, I have to model what it is I'm teaching.
Yeah.
That's so then there's that, right?
Mm.
But then by that same token, they also need to see how I serve other people. If they only see me serving them, then the only thing I'm doing is creating stovepipes, right? So what do I mean when I say that? For a person out there who don't know what stovepiping is, it is where the lines of communication always stay within the same functional area of the organization. So stovepiping, he's a good dad. He works hard. He take care of his family. So sons see that. So they say, "Hey, I got a model of that. Good dad, work hard, take care of the family." But when do they ever see me go out and serve the people in the community? When do they ever see me go out and do something for somebody else other than a quote unquote family member? That's, like I said before, that's one of the reasons why I believe we struggle as a culture, because either we stovepipe, right? Or we leave, one or the other. Stovepipe or leave. And a lot of the ones that leave, they go other places and then they become good dads. But they become good dads with people who don't look like them. And I mean, to each his own, everybody has their own right to choose what they want to do, how they want to do, where they want to do it. That's 2 thumbs up. I'm agreeing with that. But again, there has to be a model, a visible representation of what right looks like for them to mimic and emulate moving forward. So even in that regard, you're not wrong. I'm speaking more so of from the home, outside the home. The people that's in my home, I'm not necessarily, and somebody's not going to like when I say this, but I get it. I'm not necessarily called to serve them. That's my responsibility, right? Don't get me wrong. A calling is also a responsibility, but the people that I'm serving is not going to be my family member, right? That's why I know people don't like the little Denzel skit on Fences when the little boy said, "You don't like me?" But he was spot on. It was just rough. And if you paid attention to what he said, I'm not surprised. It's not about me liking you. You're my responsibility. I owe that to you. Right. So, long-winded response, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think what I hear you saying. It's the byproduct of the field, right? So for you, exposure has to be there. There's nobody to counsel. There's nobody to coach if there's no exposure, right? There's no growth if there's no exposure. You know, so I get that. If you is where your goal is at, right? And if my goal, like we go back to the marathon thing, I might want to go in hiding and go in secret. That's my process to get there. But eventually, I want to be known in the marathon world. I want to be invited to, if that's my thing. I want to eventually get invited to these big marathons and get these notifications, these signups. Because here's the thing, I don't run, and you know what I also don't get? Notifications of where to go sign up for the Boston Marathon, right? Because I don't have no exposure in that arena.
You can do the
So
walk. They got the walk. You can do the walk.
I still don't get notifications because I won't do it. So whoever knows, algorithm knows. Leave that
They got a
long
ruck
away.
too.
Huh?
They got a ruck too.
How far?
26.2.
Too far. Too far.
10 hours.
You said ruck? Give me 10,
hours.
12 miles. We done. No, but I do think that there is a place, and I get what you're saying too. Even in that, there's a process to building myself to get there. You had to go through training and qualification. You had to go through school. When you went to get your doctorate, you had to go lock in. Everybody wasn't privy to the information that you were doing it so that you could stay focused and stay locked in. It's not that you didn't want to come out and let us know, that, hey, I've done this, this is what I got. But it's like, hey, no, this is my season to lock in. So in that lock-in season, I'm all about the quiet process. Let's quietly build that process. After that process is built, it depends. For me, and that's what I'm hearing y'all saying, like, it depends. So for y'all, it's the nature of the game. I have to now be able to gain exposure, but you cannot try to gain exposure before. And this is me. This is Gaddy talking this Gaddyology. They can disagree. But you cannot go out there and create exposure for yourself before you have mastered the craft that or the service that you're giving out to the public, to the people. Because if not, it's malpractice to me.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
You physically could, but
yeah,
you just scroll on YouTube, you'll see it.
On TikTok and YouTube all day. Yeah,
all day. Experts on everything. And ain't never experienced none of it. No training. No. I digress. Let me get this last question here, brothers. We're gonna bring it up, but I want to slightly reword it. Right? How do you prepare your mind, not even just to begin to create new habits, but to build this new mindset of everything we were talking about today? Right? To getting into the discipline, to building the habits, to finding my why. How do I get my mind ready so that it's not just a resolution that lasts from December 31st to February 15th?
I'm going to speak on it, but I'm going to speak on it from a younger mind, when I was younger. And I would say at the time, it worked for me at the time. It wouldn't no longer work for me right now, no either. I am probably evolved past that. So one of the things when I would create a new habit is I would get all of the things to prepare for the new habit, right? So say for instance, the new habit was to start running. So I made sure I got the right shoes, the right clothes. I made sure that there was nothing that wouldn't create an excuse. So if I bought some cheap Bobos to run in, then I could complain if I'm like, oh man, like your feet hurt, so that's why you didn't run as well. I always had an excuse to blame somebody else. So back in the day, one of the things I did was just in order to prepare my mind for whatever that journey was. In this case, we're talking about running. I bought the right equipment. I made sure I had good headphones. I made sure I had the little iPod thing over here that with connected to the earpieces and all of that stuff like that. To whereas when I went through the journey, my mind was a little bit more at ease because I didn't have to worry about, you know, my earpieces falling out, or my sweat running down my eyebrows, or whatever the things that may distract me from running at the time. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things I did to help prepare my mind to begin new habits back in the day was just prepare all of the things around it to eliminate as many excuses as I could. And that helped me mentally.
I like the eliminate excuses part because that's a necessary piece of it. Um, I will add to it is that recognizing that you don't have the answer. If you already had the answer, then what you're currently doing wouldn't be a habit. You would have already changed it. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that we make because we go on social media and we hear somebody talk about this thing or whatever that looks like. It's, oh, I'm gonna do that. It's not a habit for you yet. So that's why they're giving it to you because they know you're not going to be able to do it. So recognizing that in essence, the fact that it's called a habit is because you're doing it on autopilot. So how do I prepare my mind to begin to create a new habit? Go to the source that told me to create the new habit, especially if that's what they're trained at doing. Right. I think and I've been talking about this. I don't know who I was talking to about this week. It's like this thing called a dollar. We're allergic to it every time it leaves our mind, every time it leaves our hand. Like we know we need the thing, but if I got to pay for the thing, I no longer need it. I just be like, I'm good. And then you just, no, like the investment that you are making yourself to change one habit that is preventing you from moving outside of your comfort zone will pay you 10 to 100 times more than what it costs you to actually change it. So recognizing that you're going to need somebody else outside of you to, number one, identify that habit within you. Number two, identify the blind spot that you have that's preventing you from realizing that it's a habit. And number three, hold you accountable for those changes that you're going to now implement because every opportunity you get, you're going to go backwards, right? You're going to go backwards. I gave you guys, for those of you who was in Bible study this past Sunday, I gave you guys a term, a phrase, what that's called whenever, you get to a point of moving outside of something and you automatically go backwards to that space of comfort zone, whether you're highly elated or highly depressed, right? You will automatically go back to where you came from because that habit is calling you to, hey, you know what? Doggone Gaddy is making you do the stuff. I know it's uncomfortable. Come on back here. The water's cool. Get in. Everything is fine. Right? So you need somebody outside of you. I think it was Einstein who said, this mind has created problems that this mind can't solve. And the problem is that you're trying to solve the problem that your mind created. It's nonsensical. So if you remember, if you was in Bible study on Sunday, put that phrase in the comment section. What is it called when you automatically revert back to the thing that you used to do when you move outside of it or when you're forced to move outside of it?
Oh man. And my answer is gonna be my final thought because I love this question. I didn't realize how much I love this question until I read it tonight. Not when I was putting together the questions, but and then listening to y'all talk, I realized the scriptures really talk about discipline. If we pay attention, for everybody. And this is why I don't like this watered down, I can do what I want style of Christianity and faith and belief. Because look what he says here, Luke 14, and I wanted verse 28, but knowing the person that I am, while they were talking, I was reading all the way down because I can't just cherry pick a verse. All right, but I'm gonna read from 20. Right, yeah. I'm gonna read from 25. And he said, and there went a great multitudes with him, and he turned and said unto them, all right, remember the great multitude following him, and he turns and while they following him, he responds and said, If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yeah, and his own life also, cannot be my disciple. So what he's setting the stage for, he said, listen, right now it's time for you to lock in. And sometimes, and here's the thing: what locking in means that I need to make this the priority. And so when we're talking about discipline, I'm not disciplined. Coach brought it up because I'm not committed to it. This is not the priority. This is something that takes a precedence. And sometimes that's a part, like the mindset has to be like, this is the precedence. This is the thing. Paul says, for this one thing that I do. Right? Like, we got to have that. Can we get tunnel vision for a moment so I can focus right here, so I can build this thing I need to build. And whosoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. But 28, and we say, for which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he has sufficient to finish it. It's a part right there. Another part of getting your mind right, right? Listen, it's time to lock in. This is what we want to do. And he kind of laid it down for you, like, hey, listen, this is the cost. It's the cost of locking in. Onk just told us, like, I gotta dump the distractions. If this is it, this is it. This is what I want. This is what I'm going after. This is what I'm going after. Like, this is where I'm getting disciplined at. This is what I'm fixing. I have to focus on. I have to forget everything else. Anything that keeps me from getting to this point. And this is why I tell people I don't like that whole do what I will mentality, because he's saying, no, this requires you to lock in. This requires you to be all in. This doesn't require you to play with it. This doesn't require you to pick and choose when to pick it up. This doesn't require you to visit it sometimes. If that's how you are practicing, then you're not a disciple of Christ. I don't care what title you call yourself. If you're a disciple of Christ, you're all in. And so I think that he taught us that habit. And so can I take that mindset? Can I get my mind right before I get ready to lock in and understand that this has to be the priority, or there's a chance that I could lose focus? I said a lot. I started sweating while I was talking. I felt like I was back in the Baptist church almost too. Hold on. Almost had to get my good towel, right? I'm joking. Man, I don't know why. Today's just a good day. I've been joking all night. Well, listen, I've really loved this conversation. I really don't want it to end. I wish I had about 15 more questions to continue this conversation, because, man, y'all brothers have been on it on this topic. And I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all so much that I really want to hear what each of you got to say to me and to the people. So without further ado, it's time for our final thoughts.
For my final thought, I just want to say that, when it comes to the self-discipline secrets that everyone gets wrong, I think sometimes we don't necessarily focus on really what's important. And sometimes our why may need some adjusting, especially when it comes to discipline. Discipline is definitely something that we all have. That most of us probably have an area in our life that we probably can or that we probably need more discipline in. So what I would say to as my final thought to wrap this up is that if you are one of those people who have discipline in in some areas and not in other areas, ask yourself why, and you want to get better or have more discipline in those other areas, then ask yourself, what is it that is making me successful or disciplined in this area and not the other? And you may be surprised that some of those things, some of those basic structures, some of those things may line up and they may correlate to something else. So they can, in a lot of cases, some of those same mindsets can be applied to other areas of your life that you may not be as disciplined in. You know, if, say, for instance, you're a person who works out a lot and you write all of your workouts down, you know, write every meal down, every macro and micro, all those different things, but you struggle with your finances. Well, maybe with your finances, maybe you need to start writing everything down, account for every single penny that goes in, comes in, and goes out of your account. So sometimes the things and the structures and the systems that we have in place for one discipline can also be applied in other areas of our life that where we may need discipline in. So if you are somebody out there who may struggle in those areas, see if some of those things are interchangeable and if you can pull them in and help benefit you in another area in your life that you may be lacking discipline in. And that is my final thought.
I think it's Proverbs 16. Um, it says, the preparations of the heart in man and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. All the ways of man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the spirit. And the next verse is the thing that I want people to pay attention to. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. See, a lot of times when we talk about this whole discipline thing, it's not it's not about capability. It's more so about will. It's more so about my inability to commit to the thing because my will is fluctuating. If I commit my ways unto him, then he will reshape this thing right here, and this thing right here reformats this thing here, and then all of these together reformats these things right here. We want the outcome without the necessary level of sacrifice to obtain said outcome. So we want this life of entitlement, not necessarily realizing that it's not going to work that way. And so we get to the point that we'll use other people to get what we want. We'll sacrifice other people for the sake of getting to the next level. And we think that is success because we're looking at the feedback that we get from other people about the things that we achieve. Listen, there's one true measure of success, and I don't really care who you are. I don't really care how you define success. But I want you to listen to how you define success and see how much different your own personal definition of success is from mine. Because in my mind, the definition of success is number one, understanding the reason why I was created, practicing the thing that I now understand, and serving the people with the thing that I mastered through practice. I'll say it in a different way. For me to come to an understanding of what I am called to do, in order for me to come to an understanding of what I'm called to do, is there's some things that I have to do, right? I have to accept the unified or joint purpose. Then from there, I pursue him until he reveals the thing that I'm called to do. Then I practice that thing. Then I serve the people that he sent to me to actually serve with that thing. That to me is what our that's the thing that drives success. And not only is it success, the Bible says that it's good success. So, at that being said, when I look at that process that I just laid out, where my disciplines exist? My disciplines exist in committing thy ways to him so he can format this. That's the thing. Until he reformats this, then it's going to be hard for me to focus on him to such a degree that all of the distractors outside of me are not distractions, because the distractors are things that are trying to get my attention. The distraction is internal to me. So as long as this thing is still attracted to whatever is out there, it will always do this and have me look over there. That's the thing that I want everybody to understand. It is imperative. I can't stress this enough. It is imperative that you rid yourself of any other false perceived God, period, and point blank. If you're not willing, okay, I'll say it like this. If you're not willing to put Isaac on the altar for his sake, you ain't committed to him. Now, the question is, what is your Isaac? Is your Isaac your child? Is your Isaac your spouse? Is your Isaac your bank account? What is your Isaac? That's for you to determine. Everybody got an Isaac. You got to lay him on the altar and be willing to sacrifice him for the sake of the Most High. And until you do that, I don't think you'll get to the point to where you can identify these disciplines that we're talking about. And that's my final thought.
For some reason, my mute button didn't want to unmute. Man, let me tell you, I enjoyed you brothers tonight. I've really, the more y'all talk, the more I wanted to sit back and get in the chats, because y'all were on fire. Like y'all gave a lot of insight, right? And I pray everybody walked away with something that can enhance your habits building, that can enhance your process. And I was about to be petty because I'm a Knicks fan, and I was about to say, don't let your process be Joel Embiid's process, but find the process that I apologize. But find that process. Lock in. Let's roll. And Coach just told you, find that process, especially that gets us closer to the Most High. Right. I love that. What's your Isaac? We know him as the father of faith for one main story, and that was his Isaac. Are you willing to give up that very thing that you feel like was promised to you? And except you're willing to hate your father, mother, brother, wife, children, siblings, forsake all, pick up your cross, follow him. Listen, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Enjoy y'all weekend. We do have some housekeeping. Yes, sir.
Yeah, dude, real quick. Everybody, tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, showtime for the Hearts of Women. Come out and support. I want to give a shout out tomorrow to one of my partners, Dwayne Richardson, my brother from the other mother, Mr. Articulated Illustrations. He just kicked off his podcast. So congratulations, bro. I'm rooting for you. I'm supporting you. Do your thing. Y'all got to hear that brother talk, man. That brother got a deep radio voice, man. I told him, I said, man, if I had your voice, nobody would be able to shut me up. But I'm just saying, shout out to him.
Shout outs. Yes, and the QR code. You want to tell them about what's the QR code?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Listen, if you have not scanned that QR code, just scan that QR code. That is for our upcoming webinar. You're not called to grow your ministry. I say again, you're not called to grow your ministry. Sign up. Telling you, sold in the pack of nabs, right? That's country stuff right there. Y'all don't know about that. Sign up and we'll see you guys. Sold in the pack of nabs, man. That's all it is. Sign up, and we'll see you on that day. Awesome webinar. I'm looking forward to talking about it.
I got questions in the back office about that saying. I still don't know what he said.
Soda and a pack of nabs.
Oh,
You don't
a
know what?
pack of nabs.
Yeah. You
Okay,
gotta
I
say it
still got
fast, man.
questions because what's a nab? But I was born in the 80s, so you know.
Yeah.
Pray for me.
No, a Yankee. That's why.
Yeah, I'll be a Yankee. It's all right. Exactly. 26 championships. I'll be a Yankee. You know, my bad. I'm on a high right now in the sports world. So, listen. Yes, we look forward to seeing y'all there. Yes, ma'am. Right? See, I'm not the only one.
We
But
already know she a Yankee. That's all I'm saying.
don't. That's a great young lady. That's from a great place. Just let it be. But all seriousness, we gonna let y'all go. Thank y'all for sticking with us, hang with us. You know, y'all know we like to laugh. We like to joke because we're not just a podcast. We're not just a channel. We're a community. We're family. You know, and we have real conversations about real things that affect real people. So let's go ahead and be a blessing to everyone around us. Keep ourselves available, and let's have a great rest of your evening.